Welcome back to our brand new show, At Odds with Junior, Fletch and Hammer, all thanks to our great mates at Unibet. And of course, if you're looking to have a flutter this weekend, gamble responsibly, but do so at unibet.com.au. This next segment is about what's making headlines around the world. We call it Around the Grounds. And first up, the footy is just around the corner, 2 weeks before the season starts. The Charity Shield, no Jack de Belin. I'm not unhappy with that decision. What's the panel think?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. I think he stood himself down, or the club has stood himself down. No, it hasn't been any sort of decision by the NRL yet, but yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I don't think you can really argue it. But on the football field, were you ever, was this a litmus test for you as a player, or is it at the end of the day, it's a practice game?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a trial, and it has, necessary evils, as you call them, but it is the last trial before they kick off in 2 weeks. So they're going to be fair dinkum, but probably the whole squad, I mean, the first grade squad that's going to play round one will probably only play 25 minutes.
Hammer, there's not too much to argue with the rights and the wrongs of a trial game, but everybody's always worried about injuries. As Fletch said, it's a necessary evil, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's always tough. I mean, right at the pre-season, still got 3 weeks before the first game. I mean, how much are you really ready? And it's about that longevity for playing your best football at the end of the season, and being able to maintain at that peak for 6 months is pretty tough.
It's like any sport. Once you get over that white line, if a bloke hits you in the ribs, you're going to get that white line fever. So it's hard to not play at 100%, isn't it, Fletch?
And it beats training too. Training was terrible.
Yeah.
Wayne Bennett, though, is he going to be into it? Because he's very anti-trial games. He just sends it out and say it's touch football.
Like I said, I think the first grade squad that plays round one will probably get half a game, maybe even less. And I just think that he'll blood all those young kids, because South Sydney, out of all the clubs, have got some good young kids coming through.
From a punting perspective, we all agree that there's a limited field. Are we saying the Roosters, Melbourne, Brisbane, South?
Bulldogs. Joking.
Is that about it, or do you give Penrith a chance? Do you give the Tigers a hope?
I don't give Penrith a chance, no. I think the last 2 years their defence has been diabolical. And you look, the last 4 teams standing last year all had the best defence. South Sydney, I mean, Roosters only let in 53 tries, and I think Penrith let in 80. So that's not going to win you a comp.
I reckon there's a lack of depth this year. You take away those top 3 or 4 teams we spoke about, I don't think the rest can win.
Is there a smoky? Is there a team out there?
Raiders. I'm backing the Raiders.
Newcastle? St George?
Don't care about the Raiders, Russ?
No.
No, fair enough.
I think they've had too many chances under Ricky Stewart.
No, I don't think so.
And on the AFL, it's your regime. Are Richmond any chance to... I know they had the hangover from last year. They get Tom Lynch to go in as full forward, gives Jack some space. You've got Dusty moving around. It's a beautiful combination.
Yeah, I think...
Catch up whenever you like.
Richmond have to be favourites. I mean, they were so good when they won the premiership. Last year, obviously, they bombed out. But adding Lynch, that's going to be so tough to be able to defend up forward. Having a 6'6" full forward, obviously Rewalt getting older, but being able to play that secondary forward position, and then obviously Dusty. So they're so quick and strong around the ground. I think it's going to be tough to beat.
Well, one thing that is for certain is that the Ashes tour coming up is going to be what everyone's going to watch. In fact, the TV stations have sacked the tennis and said they're going to cover the cricket over the tennis, which is a bit of a surprise given it's Wimbledon. All the players are now in form and putting their hand up, and you've still got Warner and Smith to come back.
Yeah, well, we've got the World Cup before the Ashes.
If you were a selector, again, who would you be picking?
Very tough for us. Warner and Smith, if they're fit, they're going to come straight back in. So Warner's one opener. Then you've got 3 other guys vying for 2 spots, I reckon, on the tour. You've got Burns and Harris, who played the last test against Sri Lanka, and then you've got Cameron Bancroft, who was, of course, on the outer with Smith and Warner. So one of those 3 will miss out. The last round of Shield matches, the last 3 or 4 rounds will determine that. But Bancroft's just come off a big 100. Harris just got 170 odd as well. Burns made runs for Queensland.
Then you've got Kawaja, you've got Curtis, you've got Smith, who bats at 3 and 4 and 5.
You've got all those guys. Travis Head, he's played really well. So it's actually a good position to be in. I think we're going to have a surplus of good players.
So all is forgiven?
Junior, I was going to ask, what about Bancroft and Warner in the same team?
Yeah, the running between wickets has been interesting, won't it? Well, I think Justin Langer as coach will just say to the guys, what's happened's happened. We start a fresh slate. That's what you've got to do. You can't have bickering between players on a tour, because that's the first thing that will drag the team down. So I don't think that'll happen. It's going to be a little bit awkward, I think, on occasions. But
similar to you and Gilly. I mean, you 2 hate each other.
Yeah. No, we didn't at all. But you and Heine, maybe.
I hate him.
Yeah, you hate him. But no, I think it's great to see England get
him and
beat
Gus.
too.
Him and Gus.
Oh, him and Gus, yeah.
I've got a story about that.
Yeah.
by the West Indies. Anyway,
No,
you go.
we'll move on to that.
No, your story.
So from a punting perspective, are you taking Australia long ball to win the Ashes, or are you a little bit concerned, or do you
No,
think?
I'm going to take Australia.
Yeah.
I think they'll win.
I
England,
mean, they're showing good form in India already.
see, England just got beat by the West Indies 2-0, which is a huge upset. Their bowlers are getting a bit old, bit long in the tooth, and their batting looks a bit iffy to me at the top of the order. So I think Australia can win that.
Okay, changing tack somewhat. The NBL is having somewhat of a resurgence off the back of the NBA, which has got Ben Simmons leading the way. How does the NBA harness this and turn it into something really, really special?
The NBL, the local
The NBL, I
league?
beg
Well, I
pardon.
think it already has. I mean, the records have been sent as far as the attendances, TV has exploded as well now with free to air. So big things happening. Guys like Bogut coming back to town just make people stand up and go, wow, this is an NBA centre, #1 draft pick in the world. He's been the MVP. He's done really well. But we're just getting so many players that are coming through the NBL now that will eventually play in the NBA. So the quality's been fantastic.
So who's you just mentioned Bogut is and Gazy's out. So are the Kings where your money's on in the NBL finals, or are you
No.
heading west, or are you heading south?
No, I mean, the stats say that Perth should win it. 9 of the last 10 winners have come from the team with the home court advantage. Perth finished #1. They got 13,000 people. So they'd be favourite, but my money would be on United.
Okay, some racing. Winks is back this weekend. The Chipping Norton going for win number.
31.
Talk about lack of
41.
depth. This is the same field she met a couple of weeks ago, which is the weakest field I think she's raced against in her career.
And still some Group 1 horses in it. But
Well, I mean, Happy Clapper's a good horse. The other horses are mainly stayers, so they can't win over that distance.
do you take the $1.10?
Well, is it better
course.
than bank interest or not? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Russ, you
yeah.
don't mind putting a bit of a dollar on Winks? Is that correct?
Every single time she runs out, I have the same bet.
Yeah, how
What
much
is
is
it?
that?
That's $1,000.
How much is that?
$1,000.
No, it's not. Tell the truth.
Well, I've kept it going. It's not 10 grand.
No, she just wins.
My tax man might be watching.
She just wins, mate.
She just wins. That's the best part about this show. We can talk about anything, and the boys have got an opinion. The last thing I want their opinion about is the UFC 235.
Yep.
Jonesy.
UFC, yeah, in Vegas.
You
going?
watching?
I can't get over there. I've got to go to Rudy Hill RSL, but it's very similar. I think Jones is the underdog. Is Jonesy the underdog? Yes, he is. Jonesy is the underdog.